Okay. All right, we're going to talk about the 4 appeals for voluntary compliance, okay? The first one is the ethical appeal, then there's a reasonable appeal, the personal appeal, and then the practical appeal. So the ethical appeal is this is about your professionalism, putting on your professional face, okay? And not your personal one, okay? There's a difference, okay? And when you're communicating with somebody, if you attack their personal face per se, attack them personally, insult them, something about their family, something that's personal to them. Okay, what you're doing is you're attacking what we call their their personal face. Okay, if you're going to do anything, if you're going to attack anything, have it be a professional face. Meaning, well, you don't want to attack. You want to attack their profession as well. But I'm sorry, going off a totally different tangent here. Sorry. Clarifying the professional service face is with you when you're talking to somebody. Maintain your professionalism. Okay, you don't need to necessarily get buddy with folks. You don't need to open up to them about your life and what's going on in your life, those kinds of things. But you need to be professional. Okay. You're not going to insult people. You're not going to go off on tangents about personal beliefs, those kinds of things. Keep it professional. Okay. Your professionalism, your demeanor, your bearing, they establish your credibility. Okay. If people think that you don't like them or that you're irritated with them, you have lost the ethical appeal. You've lost credibility in their eyes. Okay. Had someone phrase it to me this way once, and I really liked it. It says, nobody cares how much you know until they know how much you care. Okay? Whether you genuinely care or not, you're a professional. You put on your professional face, and you show them that you're interested in what they have to say, that you care about what they have to say, and that what they have to say is important to you. Bottom line, okay? And that's how you gain that ethical appeal. There's a reasonable appeal, okay? If you're trying to reason with somebody who's upset, it's not going to work. You first need to calm them down so then you can speak with them logically, okay? Telling somebody to calm down is like adding fuel to a fire, okay? Doesn't work. By your actions, by using the ethical appeal, by using your empathy, calm them down, okay? Sir, ma'am, I'm here to help. What can I do? You're talking really fast. I'm having a hard time understanding you. What you have to say is important to me. I want to make sure that I understand you. Is there a way you can slow down a little bit for me? I'm really trying to do what I can to help you out here, okay? As opposed to, calm down, right? Really, by your actions, by you remaining calm, remaining professional, and then showing them how it's in their best interest and that you genuinely care and that you're there to help, that's how you're able to calm people down. And then, once they're more calm, then you can now start speaking more rational with them, okay? Using a more, you can try logic and common sense, okay? When someone is angry, common sense goes out the window. Okay, when that emotion is involved, common sense is out the window. You got to get them calmed down first. You can blame things on on policy, on the law. Like with that gentleman that had a warrant, didn't want to be arrested, and he was like, "I'm not going to jail today." We were trying to explain to him, hey, we don't want to inconvenience you either, man. I understand you got a lot going on in your life, and we're not here to inconvenience you. The law has kind of bound our hands a little bit. We are required to arrest you. We can't not arrest you. Is there any way we can get a car? We want to try and make this as easy as for us. We can have our dispatch make a phone call, let somebody know if you need to let your boss know that you're going to be late. Those kinds of things. Okay. We're not sidestepping the fact that we're going to arrest him, are we? Not at all. What the outcome is, what we want to do is very, very clear. Well, you're under arrest. The law says we have to arrest you, okay? Or policy, okay? It's okay to blame those things because it is true, isn't it? Right? We do what the law tells us to do. We do what we're bound by those things. And it's okay it's a very reasonable appeal to blame that, and people can see that, okay? And that way it's not you either, it's not, they don't have issues with you now. Now they have somebody else to blame besides you too, which now makes you a little bit more reasonable to deal with, and they're going to be more reasonable, okay? It's less personal, it makes us a lot less personal, sorry. And this approach really tends to calm a lot of folks down, okay? Also have your personal appeal, okay? Now, this is the one that really works best with the difficult people, okay? What's in it for me, okay? Those who want to say why, okay? You got to show how it's in their best interest, okay? So you're putting what you want them to do in terms of what they have to gain or lose, okay? So, you give them something positive. Paint them a very clear picture of what the positives are. Okay, sir, I need you to, the reason I need you to, say, make a traffic stop, okay? You go up, you explain who you are, why you made the stop. Sir, do you have a driver's license on you? Okay, what if I do, what if I don't? Okay, well, the law requires you, I've made a legal stop, requires you to present a driver's license. Where do you keep your driver's license on you? F you, I don't have a driver's license. I don't have to show you my driver's license, sir. Like I said before, the law says that you're the one that's sitting in the seat of the vehicle, you're the one that controls the vehicle. The law requires you to have a driver's license on you, and when stopped by the police, you're required to present that driver's license. Sir, I want to get you on your way as quickly as possible. So what I've done there is I've explained to him, right, why I've stopped him, what the law is requiring him. Now I'm going into the personal appeal. Now I'm going into this is how it's in your best interest. Sir, look, I understand this is a huge inconvenience for you, and I want to get you on the way as quickly as I possibly can. There are some steps that I have to go through to be able to do that. I want to get you on your way home to your family, on your way home to your work, whatever it is that you were going that was much more important than what we're, than to you than what we're doing right now. To be able to do that, I am going to need to see your driver's license. If you don't make sure your driver's license, I'm going to have a difficult time identifying you, and then that could be potential other criminal charges. If I don't know who you are, I can't cut you loose. You may have to go to jail. You don't need that headache. I don't need that headache. If you can just please give me your driver's license, we'll get you on your way as quick as possible. Something along those lines. Okay? Have I been reasonable? Have I explained the situation? Did I threaten him? No, there was no threat there at all. Right? If you threaten somebody, are they more likely to push back? Tell you what, you threaten me. I'm a fighter. That's just how I am. I'm an easygoing person, but I do enjoy a good fight too. If you push me, I'm going to push back. Okay? So you got to be careful about that. And I just simply explain. All right, here's the situation. This is what I want. I want you to get back to your family. I want you to do these things. Okay. Minus that, if you're basically not abiding by what the law says, well, then that could be potential criminal issues. You don't need that headache. I don't want you to have that headache. Let's just, let's get you back on your way. I need to see your driver's license. Where do you keep that? We're right back into it. It's amazing how well it works. Right? And I put it back into how they, I've shown them how it's in their best interest, what they have to gain by it. So. And that interesting thing is when you show somebody else in their best interest, they usually go along with it, right? People like to do things that are in their best interest. So it works out. And then there's your practical appeal, okay? This can involve offbeat strategies, those kinds of things. Sir, where do you keep your license, your registration, proof of insurance? I'll keep it in the glove box. Is there anything in the glove box that might be harmful to me or to you? Anything might, any guns, weapons, knives, hand grenades, nuclear devices of any sort, something like that. It's a little bit more of a practical appeal where maybe involves a little bit of humor. They can get a little chuckle out of it, kind of disarm them a little bit. Oh, yeah, that's kind of funny. Or if they're like, no, right? Then that tells you something too. You've just gained some good information, right? He's not going after that glove box anymore, is he? Right? So, but so you can work that aspect into it too. The important thing with Practical Pill is we're not comedians. We're not doing a stand-up routine. We're not trying to get people rolling. We're not trying to book our next show in Vegas. Okay. You cannot compromise officer safety. All right. It's just something real basic, real quick, just simple, and it's measured. It's measured. When you throw that out there, you're still watching. You're still trying to look. You should get an appropriate response. And if it's not appropriate, that's information for you. Don't ignore it. Okay? And so that allows you to maintain your safety and your integrity. So, all right, we're not playing little teapot on the side of the highway kind of thing. All right? Okay. So let's give you a few acronyms to remember. All right? Everybody loves an acronym to remember, especially military folks. Okay? What? No? Okay. This LEAPS, okay, it's a great tool for gaining voluntary compliance, okay? Because it helps to promote communication between two parties. Communication is a two-way street, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
It takes two to communicate. All right, and it's something that you shouldn't rush into. This is a part of communication. This is information gathering. Okay, you're information gathering. Do you want to rush information gathering? The answer to that is no. Okay, you want to get good information, and so you don't want to rush it. You're trying to gather the facts. So the first is listen, then empathize, ask, paraphrase, and summarize. Pretty simple. So listening. It's simply that. It's listening. Folks, this is not natural for us. Again, we like to talk about ourselves. We like to talk about our interests. We like to talk about common things, and somebody's trying to tell us something. First thing we want to do is we're thinking about, oh, yeah, I remember a time like that. I want to tell them about it, right? And as soon as they start talking about something that's happening in their life, we immediately try and associate it with what's going on in our life, and we're no longer listening. Now we're trying to think of something to say back to them, okay? Or if we're asking them a question, we're trying to think of the next question instead of listening to what they're actually saying. We like to think about what's important to us first. That's usually our next question. That's usually what's happening in our lives, those kinds of things. If you think you're a good listener, simple test of that is ask your significant other. Okay? All right? You may surprise you how bad of a listener you actually are. Okay? So, really listen. Be open, because what happens if you're biased when you're asking these questions, or if you're gathering that information, when they tell you something that's contrary to what you think is more logical, okay, you're going to stop listening. Okay, you're going to start thinking, bullshit. You'll start coming up with your own little your other motives, okay, other ideas, and you've stopped listening. So they could be telling you all kinds of good stuff, and you don't get it. I can't tell you how many times I've gone back and listened to my audio and gone, idiot, they told you. But I was too busy thinking of my next question or thinking, no, that didn't happen. When in fact, it did. Something along those lines, right? Listen to them. It's amazing. I'm going to make you a promise, okay? If you just listen to what the person's telling you, the next question's going to come. If you're actively engaged in a communication, listening, the next question will naturally come. So stop thinking about it, all right? Listen to what's saying. It becomes much more natural. It's going to flow much more smoothly, okay? Because you're actually communicating. It's an amazing thing. You literally want to hear what's being said. Okay? If you ask a yes/no question, you should probably get a yes/no answer. Okay? People will try to deflect questions they'll give you an answer, but if you're asking a yes/no question and they give you some long story about something over here and over there and down the river and around the bend, okay, you get that oftentimes when people aren't listening, they don't catch that. They're waiting for the next question, so the person just gives them some line of crap, and they go on with, all right, and so tell me about this over here, and they give some other line of crap, okay? You got to listen to what's going on. Okay? When you ask a question, you should have a pretty good understanding of at least what would be a good parameter of an answer. And you got to interpret what you've heard. So you really got to be listening, processing with information that they're giving you. And if you're doing that, the next question is going to come. Okay? Then act on what was said. And remember to look like you're listening. I see this a lot of times. I see it in scenarios. I see it in the field. Because guess what? How you do things here is how you're going to do things out there. And these notebooks, okay, they are fantastic tools. Live by my notebook, okay? I write tons of notes in there. I document things. This is documentation. Wonderful things. But there's a time and place for it. When you're sitting there talking to somebody, this is not the time to be. All right? All right? And then what? Okay. Yep. All right. Yeah, so you're getting your face boxed in. They're doing all kinds of stuff. They're wandering away. That, or they'll just stop talking to you, or they'll just start mumbling. I know if I'm talking to somebody and I don't think they're listening, I'll just throw something off the wall out there. And I usually do something like, okay, yeah, that's cool. You know? And then I know all they're doing is just standing there making intelligent noises. They're not listening. Okay, they're not paying attention. I've caught myself doing that with my wife, with my kids, coworkers. You know, it's something we need to work on. Notebooks are great. We need to document them. But when we're talking to somebody, that's not the time to be doing copious notes, okay? Put the notebook down, put the pen down, keep your hands open. Just in case you need to react to something or respond to something, you can do that, okay? Keep your hands open. Listen to them. Pay attention. But then again, you also don't want to be like this. Yeah? And then what? Right? That's just weird. Okay? That's just weird. All right? I can never look at you the same way again, by the way. So it's just, you know, just appropriate eye contact, appropriate mannerisms, listening. Okay? Now, for the E portion of this, empathize. Can't talk too much about empathy, right? We've already kind of beaten this up pretty good, right? Not to be confused with sympathy. All right? You need to be sincere about this. Okay? We're going for all these factors right here. You can draw on the ethical, the reasonable, and the personal, and the practical appeals. We've covered those. Okay? The thing about empathy is, you really want to show them that you're listening. You're professional. You care. You're trying to get a good understanding of what they're telling you. All right? All right. Now, for the ask. 5 different types of questions. I bet you guys can't name them. Who, right? There's the fact-finding questions, okay? You got your 5 W's, right? Okay, so there's the who, what, when, where, why, how kind of stuff, right? Then there's general questions, okay? The fact-finding stuff, you're not going to get a whole lot of information just to the facts, okay? You know, like Joe Friday stuff, just the facts, man, just the facts, okay? The world we live in is a world full of color, okay? Just the facts doesn't give you everything. You still need stuff, but you're not always going to have everything, too. So there's a lot of grays and other colors you have to you have to get. So then, then you got your general questions, and those are, I'll just throw these out here real quick. Your general questions, that's kind of where I like to live as best as possible. It's impossible to live completely there, but that's just so tell me what happened. And then what? All right, tell me more about that. How did that make you feel? All right? See, what I'm doing there is I'm simply asking a simple little question, and they're telling me the story. Okay? The greatest interviewers, the greatest interrogators are the ones that don't work very hard. Because if you find yourself asking lots and lots and lots of questions, you're not getting a lot of information. And you're working really, really hard. If you can just simply sit back and let them tell you what's going on, get them talking. Sometimes just starting off by getting them talking about a common interest, something they enjoy. So they kind of warm up and start wanting to talk. People like to talk about themselves. And if you can get them doing that, especially things they like, their interests, it works really, really well. Okay? Also calms them down, those kinds of things. All right? And then just open-ended questions. Okay? Nice and open-ended. Then what happened? Tell me more about this. Okay? Let them tell their story. Then there's your opinion-seeking stuff. What do you think should happen in a situation like this? Let them tell you what they think. okay, that can tell you a lot about their side of things, okay, how they view things. Like if you've got somebody who you go into a burglary investigation at a business or something like that, and so you're going to talk to every employee, okay? You think this might be an inside job, so you're going to talk to every single employee. That's a great question to ask. So what do you think should happen to the person, when we catch them? We will catch them. That's what we do. We're very good at our job. And we're going to catch, we'll catch the person. When we catch them, what do you think we should do with them? Man, I think you should throw the book at them. I think that they need to make an example of them, right? I'm probably like, yeah, okay, this is probably not our guy, okay? Versus the person's like, I believe in second chances. I think you should give them a second chance. They're probably a really good person deep down. They just probably made a bad decision. Okay, well, tell me more about that, right? Who am I more likely to look at, right? There's your direct questions, okay? Your yes/no questions. And if you're asking a yes/no question, you should expect a yes/no answer, okay? But if you try to do an interview, asking questions right here, just yes/no questions, it has kind of a shotgun effect, okay? It's like you're just like, bang, 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 yes, no, yes, no. You're working your butt off, and they're not giving you anything. Anything they give you, you're asking the question, right? Okay. Do you have a car? Yes. Right. What? Is your car green? Yes. Is your address such and such, such and such? What's your address? Let them tell you. Okay. What color is your car? Let them tell you. Okay. That's more. So they have their place. Yeah, I'll tell you what, you can't do an interview just living at general questions, open-ended stuff, okay? There's times you have to do yes, no, but you should follow up. The next question should be an open-ended one, okay? Do you own a car? Yes. Tell me about your car. Boom, okay? Let them start talking. All right. And then I'm not going to go too in-depth on this because you're going to get a whole interview and interrogation class later in the academy, okay? Then you got your leading questions. Lawyers love the leading questions, okay? But there's not a whole lot of place for them in law enforcement because they're very accusatory and they're not telling you anything. It's you telling them a story or a theory and getting them to try to agree to it. All right? You're not really telling them anything. So and that's your typical question. So isn't it true that blah, 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 blah. You're telling the story, not them. They're not really giving you anything. I remember a troop. When I was a pretty young troop, he was a young troop. He was like, man, I got a confession from the guy. It turned out, no, he didn't. You told the guy the facts of the case, and he just agreed that could have been the way it happened. He didn't tell him anything. There was no confession. There was, at best, a couple slight admissions. So, all right. So we hit those, fact-finding, the general opinion seeking. Yeah, direct, leading. All right. So when you're asking questions, okay, it's good to kind of forecast a little bit to kind of get people to bait them so they'll be ready to answer your questions, right? So, have a few questions for you, maybe 5 or 6 questions to ask you. It's not going to take a whole lot of time. Appreciate if you work with me on this, okay? And that way they're not thinking that I'm going to be here for 2 hours and that you're not going to have like this chair with shackles and drill bits and stuff like that to get them to talk. There's no waterboarding going on, right? You're just kind of warm them up to the idea of this is going to be simple, quick, easy, in and out. Just got a few questions for you, okay? Then you want to vary your questions. If you just keep hitting on the same thing, guess what? They know what you're after. So if they don't want to tell you about it, they just know what to guard against. Okay? Just vary your questioning. Okay? Talk about the one thing, move to another thing. If you need to come back to something else, come back to something else. If you're talking to them, they're leaning forward and they're engaged, and also you see them step back, cross their arms. Okay, you know they want to talk about that, so it's not really the best use of your time at that point to go to talk about that thing or start hammering on that point, even though everything in you wants to be like, I just caught him on something here. They don't want to talk about it. So, your instinct is to jump on them. Don't. Move on to something else. Get them to open back up. Get them to open up their posture, sit back up, start leaning forward again, and then maybe come back to that maybe in a different angle, okay, a little bit later. So does that make sense as far as varying the questions? Okay. All right, and then the paraphrasing. We talked about paraphrasing, right? Super important. Okay, puts their complaint into your words and give it back to them. If they're complaining to you, just you can give it back to them. Summarizing. Summarize has to have the three qualities. Okay, it needs to be brief, it needs to be concise, and it needs to be inarguable. So if you talk to somebody and basically this is your decision statement. This is the okay. You're going to jail. I need you to turn around and put your hands behind your back. Okay? It's very brief, it's concise, and it's inarguable. All right? All right, so sir, I'm issuing a citation for this. It's very brief, it's very clear, it's concise, and it's inarguable. So, you want to sound authoritative. You're not backstepping on this. It's not bossy, but it's firm. It's firm. It's very matter of fact. A decision's been made. This is what it is, and this is and it's reasonable. This is why. Okay? So, example of leaps would be: so you ask a question, okay? They're going to listen. You're going to actively listen to them, get the information. You're going to paraphrase, okay, with empathy. All the time you're showing empathy. You're going to confirm, then you're going to summarize briefly your decision. Okay? Okay, now what we're moving into is the 5-step hard style technique. Okay, folks? This is vitally important. Okay? I want you to grasp this concept. Okay? This is really, you're going to use this on traffic stops. You can use this on almost every call you go on. This is probably the most important point of professional police communications and the book on verbal judo. This is kind of one of the big main points right here, the 5-step hard style technique. Okay, and I actually have a video that is George Thompson, the author, explaining the 5-step hard style the way he wants to explain, the way his concept behind it. Okay?